What's up, journeyers? Welcome to today's Tuesday Live training. We are talking about goal setting for financial fulfillment. Now, we're talking about financial fulfillment. We're not talking about money goals. We're not talking about financial freedom. We're talking about financial fulfillment. So, what's the big deal here, right? Like, what's the big deal? What's the difference between financial freedom and financial fulfillment? So I've talked about this quite a few times, but I want to touch base on it again. Now, just to clarify, I did do a whole training on embracing fulfillment as the goal. If you go under events, you go to past events, it's intuitive money principle number 5, and it is in past events if you want that more in-depth training on why we're looking at fulfillment. But just briefly, financial freedom is when you ask people what it is, it's, oh, well, it's when I get my debt paid off. It's when my house is paid off. It's when I can retire, when I don't have to work. It's this timeline goal. It's this money goal. There's like a dollar amount attached to financial freedom, right? Even things like, oh, I'll have enough passive income that I can XYZ, right? It's a dollar amount. It's a date. It's something that they have to get to eventually, right? And so what's the difference? What is financial fulfillment? Financial fulfillment is the feeling that you have along the way. It's the feeling that you get when you start thinking about different things, different aspects of things that are happening in your finances, right? It's how you feel about your money. It's the ability to trust yourself. It's the ability to make confident, intuitive decisions. It's the excitement that you get when you start getting momentum and you're like, oh, this is good, right? It's the little things and it's the feelings along the way. The cool thing about financial fulfillment is you can reach financial fulfillment right now. You can love every step of the process. You can enjoy the journey. You can trust yourself with money, even while working to achieve the other money goals that you have. But it's important that we're still setting goals along the way, because you can't just be like, oh no, I'm just looking for fulfillment and it's just about my feeling and I don't have to set any goals, right? You still get to set goals along the way. So let me give you an example of the difference between a, kind of concrete goal that you see all the time and a fulfillment-based goal. So I posted in a running group the other day, and it's actually Allie's group, and she's in here. I posted in Allie's group the other day that my only goal for this year is I want to be a runner, right? This was the feeling I had. I was like, I just want to be a runner. And the responses made me giggle because I had kind of a range of responses. I had some of these just like touchy-feely responses where people were like, you are a runner. You're already doing it. You are a runner. And I also had people say, well, you should still set a pace goal or a distance goal. Like you should still set a specific like race goal target. And I thought, no, no, let me clarify. Let me get a little bit more clear on what I mean when I say I just want to be a runner. I mean, I want to love running. I want to run and not want to stop. I want to run and not feel like I'm going to die. I want to feel empowered and invigorated when I run. It's about how I want to feel about running. And when I say I want to be a runner, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. I mean that feeling that you get when you go for a run and you love every second of it. That's running fulfillment, right? That's my desire. That's my goal, right? That is embracing fulfillment. Will I still have to do some practical things along the way to get to that feeling? Sure. Sure. Is it possible to feel that way even if I have not hit a specific pace goal? Absolutely. Absolutely. It's possible. And so I get to set fulfillment-based goals for my running, just like you get to set fulfillment-based goals for your money. So here's just an example, like these targeted goals, right? Things that are like financial freedom, right? Oh, when I get my debt paid off, right? Anytime you say this goal out loud, I want to get my debt paid off. You're like, ugh, but how? But when? But what if I can't? And it elicits this like almost anxiety because there's a lot of fear of the unknown in there, right? But when you switch and you set a fulfillment-based goal, there's almost this feeling of like anticipation and excitement. So here's the example with my running, right? If I say I want to run a 5K in under 45 minutes by June, I literally got a lump in my throat. I was like, that's June is, oh my, it's only 4 months away, and I don't know how I'm possibly gonna be able to do that. And like, I've never run a 45K in under 45 minutes before, and so I don't know what that's gonna take, right? It immediately elicited anxiety, right? I was like, how? I don't know how to do that, right? But if I switch it up a little bit, switch it up, and I say, I want to feel invigorated after running a 5K without stopping. Oh, I got excited. I was like, yeah, I do. I want to feel invigorated after running a 5K without stopping. Hell yeah, I do, right? And again, there are steps to take, right? There are things I'm going to need to do in order to get to a point where I feel invigorated after running a 5K without stopping, right? There are things I'm going to have to do along the way. There are practical steps, right? But that means rather than just looking at pace, right? Because I could easily run a 5K in under 45 minutes and feel like absolute garbage at the end of it. And that's not what I want, right? That's not what I want. That's not my desire. That's not what will feel fulfilling to me, right? So I need to start running more, but paying attention to how I'm feeling because it's about how I feel. That's what I want. I want to feel invigorated after running a 5K without stopping, right? Now, I promise you, if I do what it takes to pay attention to how running makes me feel, if I do what it takes to do those things to reach that fulfillment-based goal, I promise you, I will run a 5K in under 45 minutes. I will, because if I did what it takes to feel good about the running process, I will also get better at it, right? So if I say I want to run a 5K in under 45 minutes and I go, ugh, it's so anxiety ridden, I don't even know how to do that, like I've never done it before. But if I say I want to feel invigorated after running a 5K without stopping, and then I do what it takes to pay attention to how I feel, to pay attention to what my body wants, what my body does, so that I feel invigorated when I'm running, right? If I do those things to feel invigorated after running a 5K without stopping, I promise you the pace will be there. So what does this look like with your money, right? What is an example of a fulfillment-based goal when it comes to your money? Well, you might say, targeted goal, I want to save $10,000. Sorry, guys. Cooper, sit. No, I know. I know, humans. Cooper, sit. Cooper, sit. It's just the mailman. Sorry. So, targeted goal. Cooper, sit. Sit. He's like, but mama, there's a human outside. So, targeted goal. I want to save $10,000 so I can go on a trip next year. And your brain is like, what? How? How am I supposed to do that? Are you sure? How are we possibly going to save that much money? Right? Your brain goes immediately to anxiety. Or you shift it and you say, I want to be able to confidently pay cash for a backpacking trip through Europe where I can just not worry about money and I can just enjoy my time and I can be inspired by the things that I see and I can go and do whatever I want. That's exciting. It's exciting to do that, right? It's exciting to be like, oh my gosh, how amazing would it be to just go to Europe and then just backpack and like stop wherever and like have zero money stress and just enjoy my time and just be inspired by the locals. How cool is that? You set that kind of a goal. Might you still need $10,000 to do that? Sure. But the goal setting part of it is much more motivating. It's exciting. It makes you want to do it, right? And then you get to take that goal and you get to back into it. Okay, what is it going to require for me to be able to do that? How much am I going to be able to need? Okay, what is that going to look like? How do I set that goal? But then each time you set aside $100, $200, $500 for specifically that inspiring and enjoyable trip that you get to go and just pay cash for, you get excited. You don't look at it and go, oh my gosh, I've only saved $100. Like I'm only 1% along, right? Instead, every $100 is one more thing you get to do. Every $100 you're like, oop, there's my Airbnb for that night, right? Every time you save a little bit towards it, because you're looking at what it's going to feel like to get there, you get more and more excited. You get closer and closer and closer to the feeling that you're going to have when you get there, right? I have said this over and over. It's never about the money, guys. It's always about what you get to do with it, right? That is what it means to set fulfillment-based goals. It is the feeling. Now, I did do a more in-depth training on this inside of Intuitive Money Mindset Society on exactly step by step of what needs to be in a fulfillment-based goal and how to know if it's a fulfillment-based goal and how to really incorporate what fulfillment feels like for you, and then how to take those things and incorporate them into your everyday money mindset and journey. So if you want that training, it is inside of Intuitive Money Mindset Society. So if you want to join us, you can click the link in the description of the video, grab your founder spot, come over and join us. But as for today, in Intuitive Money Mindset Society, we're actually talking about how to balance long-term and short-term goals. Because here's the thing, you're going to sit there and you'll be like, oh, I have this dream of being able to be outrageously generous and never stress about money and be able to give away money all the time, but still take care of my family. And how amazing will that feel to just know that I can always take care of anybody who's around me? Oh my gosh, how glorious will that be when I get to be just outrageously, stupidly, ridiculously generous all the time? That is a long-term fulfillment goal, right? That's something that's going to happen in 10 years, maybe, hopefully sooner, right? But that's more of a long-term goal, to be able to just like give money. There's like Undercover Boss where they're like, here's a check for $20,000. Like, I want to do that, right? I want to be able to do that. That is a big fulfillment-based goal for me, but it's more long-term. A short-term one is the things like being able to clean up or fix up our kitchen, and how much more at home we're going to feel and how much more relaxed we'll feel when we have those things, like those renovations done, and how much more I'm going to feel like I actually want to be here and want to take care of it, right? That's more short-term, right? That's more the next year. So how do you balance, right? Because if I spend all of my time and energy focusing purely on taking care of the kitchen, I'm not necessarily going to be able to save and build my nest egg for that long term. If I save entirely for that long-term nest egg, I'm not going to get to do the things that make me feel fulfilled now. And so what we're talking about today in Intuitive Money Mindset Society here in the next like 10 minutes is we're talking about this. How do we balance short-term and long-term goals? So if you want to join us over there, again, there's an in-depth training on fulfillment-based goals already in there. And we're going to talk about balancing short-term and long-term goals today. One last thing today, you guys, is next week I'm taking I was going to call it a mental health week, but really it's more of a Nicole needs to focus and has lots of things to do and wants to be able to put out more things for you guys week off. And so next week, my husband is going to be traveling. And so I'm going to have a lot more free time to just myself. And I'm going to spend that time writing my ebook. I'm writing one for Intuitive Money Management. I'm so excited. I am creating some freebies for you guys. I am putting my neurodivergent money management ebook into a print form. I'm doing a lot of things, putting a lot of things together that I want to be able to focus and take the time to do. So there is no Tuesday live training next week, Tuesday, the 15th of February, but I will be back the week after that. And the plan as of right now is to talk about how you can retire without a 401k, because there's a lot of self-employed people in here. And it's important that you know how to retire, even if you don't have an employer-sponsored plan. So that's what we're going to talk about in 2 weeks. If you have other suggestions, other topics you want to talk about, please feel free to drop them in the comments or make a post or send me a DM or whatever you need. Okay, so as you guys are creating these fulfillment-based goals, if you need help, if you're like, I don't even know what I'm supposed to be looking at here, please shoot me a DM and we'll talk through it. Okay, all right, I love you guys. As always, trust yourself and enjoy the journey. See you in the group.